Primal Chaos is a well-known mod amongst many Ark players for being a fan-inspired version of Primal Fear. But recently, it has received an update that actually brings over some of those beloved creatures into this mod, along with its bosses, where we will fight them all in 100 days. We are playing on the map Temptress Lagoon. So after the early morning routine of scratching my infected arm, I stretched my legs and discovered a waterfall where there was a lot of eggs all over the place. But there was no dino in sight, so where are they? And before I knew it, I had ants up my rear, so I was gonna go down a level here where Akisa was standing.
Oh!
Yeah, I didn't know what to do. Luckily, I spawned close by again so I could meet up with Akisa, so I then ran back there again. But at least the ants weren't dangerous at all, and I was gonna go down here to greet Akisa, but I apparently couldn't handle that small little jump either. Oh my god. Worst part is that Akisa was never there, she perished to the bugs. But seeing as I got a different spawn point this time, I worked on getting some basic tools for now, while Akisa was gonna try to meet up somewhere along this forest. Wow, this is actually really beautiful here. Ow! Guys, also if you do enjoy my modded Ark videos, make sure to subscribe or I might have to become a Minecraft YouTuber. But anyways, a little bit later into the day, we started experiencing our very first earthquake, which dropped a lot of different kinds of resources. But I was really curious what this ethereal pearl was for. Okay, this map is already starting out pretty cool. Like, even the intense storm felt like it was getting more intense, giving me a survival sensation of true nature, since the weather system in Ark is kinda poop. The forest even had this glowing looking Indominus that seemed like it was looking for a little snack, like me. I didn't have any main routes to go at the moment thanks to the Indominus. And while I was working on my way close to the beach, I got suddenly ambushed by a bunch of poisonous dodos, but they got destroyed easily with my sturdy spear. But as the night rolled in quickly, it was getting dark and cold, and I wanted to cook up some of those poisonous dodos, but I got literally attacked from behind when cooking food. What? But towards the end of this super dark night, Akisa was shouting that she saw me, but I was completely blinded by the fearsome darkness and I could see nothing.
Hey you! Turn around!
Do you know how dark it is in the game? Yeah, it's so dark, I can barely see you. Oh, come on! On the second day, I was gonna go look for my item bag, but it was just too dark for me to see anything, and a dodo came straight for me again. Oh my god!
Yeah, you might want to leave those away.
Oh, there's 3 of them! I ran out of stamina. I had to come up with a strategic plan to get rid of all of those dodos. The plan was to make some basic tools along with a deadly spear fit for skewing those dodos. Then skew a dodo or 2 and then finally make a bola from their hide, which will make me the dominant human on this beach again. There were quite a few of them, and I was trying to bait them into the water to then spear them, but I got plucked again, and not the way around. Easy. 1 dodo. Now for the rest. Oh, come on! I honestly hate how bad my aim really is. I need to play more FPS, I think. Of course, I spawned next to another dodo. Why is there so many of them here? No, don't get stuck on rock. I got stuck in a rock. I can't believe I'm taking these many L's from these peasant dodos. Unfreaking believable. No! After getting rid of some of the dodos now, I had to battle against the insane cold temperature instead, but it was all in respects pointless. I was also tired of hitting the respawn button, so I was waiting for Akisa to put down a bed for us, away from all those pesky stupid chickens that only want problems. So after getting rid of the last dodos on this beach here, I felt at peace and I could finally unwind and think of the next plan of motion. We wanted to work on getting set up with the base and stuff, and there was some easy metal right here, but I didn't want to really get rid of the rock just yet, so we can get some more metal out of it with some better tools. So instead, I found a normal dodo here, which we needed to make our very first kibble, so we can get our hands on our very first Primal Chaos dino. I just had to lead away some wildlife first to get these dodos. Akisa came over to check out these turkeys as well, but she was having a little bit of an issue trapping the dodo. Well, I got the dodos knocked out and tamed, so all I had to do was safely get them to the island. Okay, after these night areas, it should be safe in the water. Day 3, I had these dodos rescued and placed down in our base. I think I mean box. To make these dodos produce the eggs we need for kibble, I will have to look for a suitable male to get the chickens going or no Primal Chaos kibble. Quite simple as that. However, I spotted a tech parasaur we could get that was in the distance, but there was also the spear triceratops that hopefully is friendly. But as I prepared a little bit with some stuff, Akisa found another tech parasaur closer to us, away from that spirit beast. I just needed to get myself a bonking stick for the parasaur, but those turkeys were back again. After I distracted them away, we found the parasaur and bonked him into an unconscious state. There wasn't too many bushes around for me to farm a lot of berries, but as I was venturing further away from base, I got suddenly imploded to smithereens. What?
Must have been a Nuka dodo.
Great! I don't even know what exploded me. But it must be a dodo, because it was a small little dodo in the grass. And kaboom. Question, is that dodo still there? I don't see it. Never mind, it's still here. After recovering my things and thoughts, I came to realize that we only had the parasaur for a little to 5 minutes, and then I managed to get it imploded without making any big berry haul. What am I even doing? Well, this is definitely a setback to my plans, since I will have to go and find a new berry gatherer again. But anyways, Akisa was asking me for my help recovering her things, and as we swam over the water here to the beach, she literally dazed me by showing this stupid suit. Why have you downloaded that?
Meow.
Into day 4, I was by the ocean floor collecting a little bit of chitin from these trilobites that were quite buggy, because I really just needed chitin for my pterodon saddle at the moment. On land, we found yet another tech parasaur to tame up, and we bonked it into sleep since I got mine imploded somehow. But never mind that, I also found another dodo, a male even, to help the females with the egg production, so I got it tamed up quick and easy. Thankfully, we were in luck to get these tames here because the spirit trike had wandered off. But as we got home safely with the dinos, I took notice that eggs and berries aren't the only thing we'll need. No, we need... Oh god, we do need a greenhouse. You can't even tame the first toxic ones. We need carrots. Like, we can get a greenhouse up and running soon enough, but it will still take more time for us to get our first kibble.
Do you have enough stuff for me to have a grappling hook?
Oh, we should have some. I made the reusable one. But anyways, with the grappling hooks, we were gonna venture out in the wild to find some crystal. But we didn't make it that far since we got imploded by a demonic dino. Okay! Well, back to square one. I think we're gonna try making a raft instead and traverse around the coastline to look for crystals. We're kinda scared right now. Akisa had also placed down this gravestone that can surprisingly recover items if you get obliterated and sent to the gulag. But as we were planning our trip, a wild degenerate paid a visit and got our dinos extinguished within seconds. So then, I got my revenge on him for eating all of our dinos. Okay, well, seeing as we have nothing to use for land now, I finally made a raft. And our first stop would be this lonely island out here in the middle of nowhere. And when I was exploring this tippity top of this place, Akisa managed to find an explorer note on the ground here.
Crystal.
Oh, in the water. Okay, nice. With this crystal, we'll be able to make the necessary soul balls for our dinos. We noticed there were still a few more explorer notes lingering around for us to collect. That's a very nice treat. But back home, I got some of the greenhouse necessities made while Akisa built something small for the crops. But after setting up somewhat of a greenhouse, I think, I went out to capture a parasaur real quick just so we can have some berries on the go and some seeds. But on day 5, I was still farming up as many berries as I could with my parasaur. And after farming a lot of these berries, I was about to go home until something came to backstab me. I don't know what the is happening, but I must have a debuff or something because keeping these parasaurs alive for more than 1 day seems impossible for me right now. But anyways, after being a complete klutz getting these parasaurs eradicated, Akisa made me this new tool called a multi-tool that lets me switch between other tools. It will also be incredibly handy for the future, but right now I had to work on getting a greenhouse built for the crops. So I started by placing down a water pipe along with the crop plots to irrigate them with Bluetooth water. The greenhouse effect we had for the crops wasn't great, but 90% is better than nothing, I think. I already had some fertilizer made in this compost bin as well, so I was already prepped. But then, suddenly, we had a visitor along our base. Oh my god! He's not aggressive, is he? I'm looking at his face. Wait, I have that. I remember I got rid of Nidarius. So a little bit later, I was gonna go pick up Akisa by this rally point she marked while we got hit by a superheat for some reason. And as soon as I got to Akisa, I decided to climb my way up to grab an explorer note, but also got rid of this tech stego since I wanted some of his electronics. On day 6, we were out venturing further into the mainland in this dark night where we spotted a Chaos Rex to our right side causing havoc along the beach, quite toasty. But we were not safe until we had a lurker sneaking up behind us. Run!
What was that? What was that?
What do you think it was? Bad timing, Giza! After getting away from the enormous prehistoric fish, we got to a colossal cave that was safe from dinos that will be a viable base spot of choices. But right now, we're not really ready to move and build a new base. But we had instead decided to scout around the map a little bit on foot for a few dinos, while also checking out a few points of interest for a new base location. Oh my god, this area is actually lit. I want to live here, Giza. Are we going down?
Whee!
I guess we're going down. I'm going full speed down. Okay, you captured me. I don't know what this is. This is a huge area though. But after getting our share of exploration, we got eaten by some fish in a lake. I don't see any. Okay. The next day, I was out looking for trilobites in the water for chitin, when now running into this demonic creature. Demonic Reaper Queen? Why is she swimming there? No, she's swimming towards me. Please, let me up. Woo. I got away.
Hello, my...
Nope, I did not. She came back. But either way, I had finally completed the greenhouse build now, but for some reason I managed to only get 255% greenhouse effect and not 300, and was questioning my mind just how and why. And with the greenhouse being a few days old, we had gotten a little bit of crops by now, which allowed me to make the first tier of kibble of this mod. But before I could go out and tame any of the new toxic creatures, Akisa wanted me to see this new update wildcard release of their cat. I thought it was gonna be an April Fool's because of the date, but it was actually real. Also, to play this update, I had to turn off the server and update it. And so we're back. We got back in without any issues, and that's rare with wildcard updates. Anyways, I got some potent toxic arrows now made for when we do find something interesting to tame.
Hello, Chop. He wants a Tino berry. Okay, we have Chop.
We ran around for quite a while, but we didn't really see anything yet to tame. Finally, after running around the map for such a long time, we found the very toxic pteranodon we had been searching for all this time. And I got it easily lured towards me and I knocked it out to tame it. Then another pteranodon was claimed just a little bit further away without any issues at all. But whenever I was gonna pick up a Akisa with my pteranodon, the game literally kept her on the ground. Oh my god! Stupid game. Oh my god! And a bit later, after claiming these pteranodons, Akisa spotted the very cat that recently got added to the game, so we just had to stop here.
Down there! But there's a mirror!
You sure you want to get down there? Oh, come on, Akisa! We're not getting that cat, Akisa. You can forget it. It's next to a rock column. After gathering our thoughts and prayers, we found another cat in a safe area. But just somehow, Akisa spooked it.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Get off me, cat! Am I supposed to punch him off?
No way! You want me to put down a bed, Kisa? Actually, I can probably pick up the cat and bring it back home. I finally got it back home. I just had to wait for Kisa to put up a little place for it so we could tame it. So, to tame it, from what we understood, is that we only have to passively give it some raw prime meat, mutton or fish. But when Akisa went in for a second time, she got clawed to bits again. But when I tried it, it worked without any issues for some reason. I didn't get clawed at all, so who knows? It might have something to do with her suit. On day 9, we persuaded our pteranodons to make a bunch of eggs for us so we can move on to the alpha tier of dinos. Basically, we're just gonna need the eggs for the previous tiers to make the new ones. But anyways, I got the good old fabricator made now at least, but we kinda ran out of cementing paste and chitin after I made it. So getting that would be the next big step. Plan was to go out and venture into the unknown with the goal of finding more bugs for chitin and perhaps looking for some polymer from penguins. So after flying across the whole map, I spotted some kind of a mini-boss or something in this extinction area. That will be interesting to take down later to see what the rewards will be. And as I ventured pretty far away from base, I discovered something that was not supposed to be here. I found Cryo. What are they doing here though? Oh my god, there's so many of them. That is a perfect time to get some polymer though, and get some of our own penguins as well. And towards the end of the day, I got some toxic spooters harvested quickly for their chitin. But before I left, I spotted something absolutely mind-blowing. Wow! No way! What is this? I think I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gigas, 8, 9. What? What is this?
Wow.
Back home, after getting a little bit of cementing paste made, I was able to replace our old and rusty preserving beans and switch it out for something better so our things don't spoil as quickly. I made some AC units as well to cool down our place a little bit and will be for hatching our dino eggs as well. Then I rolled up my sleeves and I started expanding the small starter base a bit because I was getting slightly claustrophobic living inside here with all the things. I spent for the majority part of the day just expanding and organizing our resources and workbenches to make it somewhat neat and not going overboard. And spoiling some raw meat for the trunks were also gonna have to be worked on, as well as making a chainsaw to get the necessary chitin I would need. I honestly didn't know where bugs were roaming, so I was just outside looking here and there for them. And as I went deeper into the map, I even discovered a boss roaming the world. Megapithecus Gamma? They spawn in the wild? I then arrived at an interesting area where there was a tech parasaur I wanted to kidnap. It felt kinda risky with the lightning Dodorex over there, but we ain't no quitters. Let's go! Oh yeah, that's right. We got rid of the trusty old awesome teleporter because it was time to replace that mod overall, since it's abandoned at this point. The mod has given us a lot of inconvenience in the past for a few videos, and I got fed up with it. But either way, this Omega teleporter works literally the same, and Hexenlord who made Ark Omega is very much active today. And on my way back to the old graveyard, I stumbled upon a sheep that I quickly eviscerated for its mutton. But when I saw my gravestone, I couldn't see the parasaur around anymore, so I continued my search. And in this cave here, there was actually 2 tech parasaurs that I quickly removed from consciousness to get them to join us. Today I was gonna try making a nanny to get these newly dino babies imprinted, but we were just a little bit short of some stuff. But I got one of these alpha pigs made at least to increase my gathering gain by like twice as much. And up north, I managed to find a cave inside the volcano that had a lot of crystal and metal around, so I could bring a very big haul back home. There were even a few bugs around here to grab for the necessary cementing paste. But the cave itself had an ancient structure built here, but there was really just nothing special here. No artifacts and no drops. And back home, I was able to make the nanny for the baby dinos, giving me time for myself and less care for my baby dinos. Okay, that sounds pretty mean, but generally, the nanny will make sure the dinos babies will get imprints and be well taken care of, which I frankly need in real life. We also got the next tier of armor, which was the Alpha Chitin set, and hopefully it's a little bit more durable. On day 13, I got some penguins growing up for their polymer. Got a few structures that will need a lot of it. We're also gonna need a few pterodon backups just in case the Keys army gets somewhat clapped by a wild dino out in the wild. I think we're maybe ready to get ourselves some alpha dinos now, so I cooked up some of this alpha stuff right here to then make some alpha trank arrows. But while I was preparing to get an alpha dino, I heard something chomping right outside the base, which turned out to be a turtle. I didn't want a similar experience to this. So I decided to put up a lot of spike walls around the area to help prevent this from happening again. A bit later after that, Akisa and I split up because she wanted to go work on building that new permanent base that was a secret, while I went to that lonely island we stumbled upon before with the explorer notes. I had planned on turning this island to an area where we can have our dino farms to keep it away from our main base, which in turn means less lag. I wasn't sure about the design of this house at all on this island since it was dreadful. Akisa was also very busy building our new main base, and this was mainly a house for sorting dino balls and everything. I suck at building, but for some reason I had a lot of spectators in this area now for some dumb reason, and I thought this place was quiet as heck, but now I have all the dinos around here to judge my build. And after a bit, I just had enough of these dumb horses since they were stepping on my area 24/7, like right in the middle of the build. And towards the end of day 14, I finally could see an end to my build, so then I placed out a lot of foundations around the area to prevent further wild dino spawns, because my mind was turning into a crazy monkey. On day 15, I had to get rid of some of these toxic pteranodons for their toxic stuff and raw prime meat, since the next tier of kibble requires cooked prime. And with this, I made the industrial grill as well, since it will take a lot of time to cook up. So afterwards, I went out in search of an alpha pteranodon and I flew almost everywhere around the map. But I didn't find anything yet, so I took care of some bugs and chitin, and then the volcano started erupting, leaving the sky on fire with meteors coming down. So I escaped into a mountain here to deal with some pesky bugs and get some chitin, while the planet outside was preparing for its doomsday. Day 16, I was still here, the planet was still safe, there was nothing wrong, everything was cool. But I put down a teleporter inside the mountain now, and I visited the other side since it was filled with bugs for chitin and a lot of raw metal. But the cave was so dark inside, so I was gonna put down some torches to somewhat help with that. And surprisingly, the cave didn't only have bugs and metal, but also a lot of crystal. I think I mentioned this sometimes. I don't know what I'm doing. Why am I even reading this part of the script again? Okay, anyways, but then I was back home to prepare the new area with a few structures like a generator and such. And then I spotted a demonic level dino in the distance. And let me tell you, these guys are really bad for us right now and will without a doubt make us restart the world. Mostly because they can destroy our entire base. So I decided to quickly teleport out of there and work on a new area for raising dinos. Dude, even though I put down foundations, they keep spawning here. But now the area was fully up and running, and I just had to place out all of my dinos now. Then towards the end of the day, I was throwing out a lot of dinos that will be sacrificed for our needs, since we'll need them. Every bit of it matters. On day 17, I was harvesting some tech parasaurs for their electronics and stuff. This was very useful right now due to not finding any silica pearls yet to make the electronics. And getting rid of some bugs was the only way to obtain a cementing paste at this point, since I haven't really seen any beaver dams at all on this map. But after doing all of those things, I decided to accept my job as a simple berry farmer until a disgraceful thug snuck onto me. But then I got it trapped, so I safely escaped from his clutch. The parasaur was really lucky, since that was a legendary spider that was out for some prey. As I got home, I got rid of some toxic pteranodons for their stuff, like usual, since it was very important to have right now. Alright, so I had decided to work on getting some alpha tranks going, since I am gonna focus on getting an alpha argentavis for their harvest and fast egg production. You can never really go wrong with the bird of freedom. The only problem I had to face was to track one down and lure it into my gate trap. Are you stuck between some trees? Please come over here. But I'm kind of good at this game, I think. I successfully got one trapped and I knocked it out by the end of the day. I'm not trying to flex, but sometimes I'm lucky, I guess. So on day 18, the bird was finally tamed. Now we're gonna need a female. But as I was flying around looking for the RG, I flew across this field of crystal that I wanted, but there was a good for nothing raptor in the way that had to be slayed. Unluckily, nothing good dropped. I was really hoping for a better crossbow. And I had finally arrived at the frosty zones of the Vikings where I found that Argentavis I needed. So I put down my somewhat trusty contraption and I mistakenly opened the door in front of me. Oh! But the second try went better and I started pumping it with trank arrows. But I got it easily tamed up with the kibble since it was such a low level. But with that one obtained, I wanted to look around the area a little bit more since I haven't been here before. And as I was scanning along the beach, I saw an alpha megatherium lurking about. And that we could really need. And with this big boy, it will be a dream for me to obtain all of the chitin we would ever need on this game. But first things first, let's get rid of this degenerate on the beach. We don't really need any degenerates spectating as I try to catch a sloth. I am a little bit scared right now. I'm trying to tame something and I have a spirit Carnotaurus right next to me. Luckily, I got it balled up before that godly dino was able to one-shot my megatherium. And back home, I made a saddle for the sloth and I went out to my volcano cave and exterminating everything inside here. But now, I got the overwhelming amount of chitin I've always dreamed about. The next day, I was by the volcano cave to grab metal again since we keep running out of it, making upgrades to our new main base, a case I was secretly building. So I was just seeing the materials disappearing for no reason at all, and a case I didn't say anything. Well, I then had to get rid of these annoyances too. We needed their polymer. So I basically spent the whole day just getting resources so we can progress to the next tier since we aren't really there yet. On day 20, when I was just sorting out some stuff in our base, I heard a dragon collapse nearby. So then I went out to investigate and I found an electric one in the ocean. So I got some nice elemental stuff from that, which will be useful. And with the stuff I got from the dragon, I was able to make some elemental metal ingots now. And with that, I was able to advance into the next tier of armor set, the volcanic flak set. And with that weird color combo this set had, it was the perfect excuse to try out these new Viking skins. So, as the sun set down towards the end of the day, I had to show Akisa what I've been up to on this island base I worked on. I was basically setting up the area for the upcoming projects. It is time to tame elementals for bosses. It wasn't that long until I flew into a Hydrorex that would be a capable tame here for the upcoming boss fight. So I put down my metal gates and I baited him over. Wow, that was probably the easiest one to get. And as soon as I was trying to remove him from his consciousness, a dangerous Allosaurus nearby swung by the area, putting me on high alert. So Akisa took a small break from her building to come and bait the Allosaurus away from me, so I would have an undisturbed taming process. You know, my head keeps spinning from all the time I have to keep taming these things, and it usually never goes the way I want it. Well, I did get the Rex knocked out without any issues so far, so then I flew back home to make the elemental kibble so I could tame the Hydro. And with how long it did to knock out that Rex, I wanted to go out and look for some normal Alpha Dinos first in hopes of a better crossbow or something. And the Hydrorex was left behind for now to drop its food level. I found a normal Alpha Raptor that I fought with my Pteranodon, but it didn't drop anything special at all. There was also another Hydrorex here as well, but it was a male which we didn't really need because I was already trying to tame one. But looking around for a little bit for these Alpha Dinos, I couldn't see anyone around, so I flew back to my Hydrorex to find out something interesting that I didn't want to find out. What is attacking my Rex? Are you kidding me? Something's attacking my Rex and I lost all my effectiveness. Nah, there was a bunch of Packies attacking the Rex. I lost on 30 levels. On day 22, I was taking down another Alpha Raptor in hopes of something useful, but with my absurd misfortune, nothing again. Well, today I had to go for another Hydrorex because that other one was so disappointing, because it lost so many levels. And I remember this other Rex I saw the other day. I flew out there and I got it trapped. But after pumping a lot of trank arrows into this beast, my arrows were not enough, but luckily I informed the Kisa that this Rex was being a complicated trash bag that made me miss my shots and I could only go for the body and not the headshots. And then someone wanted to come over and be a real nuisance to me, but I had enough of being humiliated, so I did a tactical retreat to bait him away. And then to continue removing the Rex from its conscious state of being. There we go, finally. But now I got finally a perfectly tamed Hydro Rex. Now I just need one of the opposite gender to start breeding an army of them for the boss fights. So back at base, I wanted to actually start working towards making a proper trank like the darts and such from the elemental tier and up. But I needed a chem bench, and with me being me, I was just short on one level for some reason. No matter, it's just one level after all and I can easily get it within a day. So, I was gonna try cooking up some tranks today after that poor taming of the Rex, but we were out of literally every spoiled meat we owned. So then I had to make a toilet so we can spoil a lot of it. And while I was cooking up some tranks and such now, I went out in search of another Hydro Rex. I managed to find a female, but it was an extremely bad area surrounded by primals and such. But no matter, I was gonna try my best to box this one in with my gates. And then the primal rock drake simply got way too close to the Rex, and my biggest brain move I had was to bait it away. And just because I baited the rock drake away, another Rex had spawned right next to the Hydro. Ooh. I had to try getting rid of this toxic Rex somehow, and I saw a big long boy nearby that I baited it towards. There is just no way that it can stand up to Mythic Bronto. But towards the end of the day, I finally got the Rex sound asleep, and that marks the end of day 23. I had to head back home to grab a little bit more for that elemental kibble, and now I freaking finally have a pair of these Hydro Rexes. I am also gonna need an electric pair of elemental dinos and a volcanic set as well. And so for my understanding with these elemental bosses is that they're pretty durable and will require a different type of elemental to defeat them. I couldn't make the Hydro saddle just yet for the Rex, so I had to fight another Hydro Rex that was like 100 levels below the one I tamed. I sent my Rex to fight him so I could harvest the wild one, but it was looking tough for my tamed Rex. After almost losing this disastrous Rex that almost got ripped by a small packy, I went out to collect a bunch of berries again. Mostly as for tranks, because right now I am mentally brain damaged from all of the farming. Potion. Let's see. We want to make some potions, right? Let's see. We want to have 100 toxic potions. Easy. Like, we're gonna need all of these potions eventually, but right as of now, we could only afford the toxic variant. But today, I definitely think I need to catch an Ankylo or something, since we kept running out of metal 24/7. It might have to do something with the Kiso. The Ankylo will just collect more metal for me and faster as well, which is great and all. But first things first, let's find a good level one. Well, as I was flying around, I came in a little bit too close to the new base the Kiso was building, and I was teasing her about it. Oh, I'm going past the base. I can see it from here. It's loading.
Oh my god, Mike. Don't look at it yet. Please.
I finally arrived at the snow area and I found an Anki, but it wasn't god level but a level 95, so it should do for me. At least it wasn't as annoying to trank as the Hydro Rex, since it didn't really have a boasting high torpor. But when I got back home to make the kibble, it was still crafting health potions, way more than I thought it was gonna make, since I only queued up 100 of them. But apparently one craft equals for 2, and I had no idea of that. But this will definitely last us a while. Anyways, I got the Ankylo tamed up now at least. I was also gonna stop by this area for metal, since there was such a good amount of it, but I had to teleport home quickly again first to make the saddle. But after I was done farming up the metal, Akisa told me to come check out the new base she built. But I must say, I've seen a lot of Akisa's builds, and this one really takes the cake. Wait, what? Is this supposed to look like something, Akisa?
Yeah, go around to the other side, you goose.
I didn't expect that. What? No way. You do realize you have 2 origins down there?
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of dangerous things flying around out here.
Right.
Playing with fire, you want to go in through its toes? Go in through its toes.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Look at that. Damn, this is the most square space I've ever seen Akisa made.
Okay. Wait, did you see what I had here?
Oh, I see the cat.
The one down here.
What? Why is this here?
Ooh, yeah.
You know, I am very happy about the base being formed by the shape of a goose, but I'm still worried about the fact of origin bosses spawning right below the area down here. The base is built in metal and stone in some places, so I'm really concerned for the integrity of the base, but hopefully nothing comes over. And that kinda marks the end of day 26, because we didn't really do anything today, just goosing around. On day 27, we were gonna take our own Hydrorexes and go fight this wild broodmother that was roaming on the map. I was mostly curious if it was possible to unlock tech grams from this one. Oh god, I think I just pulled a demonic. Ow, ow, ow. But after I thought I had lured the dealer away, he came back for round 2 when I was going for the spooder. No! Well, that was slightly disappointing. Not only did I embarrass myself and lose my strong Rex, but we didn't really get anything cool except some element. But for now, it was time to go home. There was nothing special I lost except the Rex, but we can make more. But for now, I was gonna take Akisa out to help me look for a good electric dino to tame. But like every time I try to pick her up from the ground, it always puts her back there. Oh, oh my god, no, 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 no. I just aggroed it. Yeah, you know what? This made me lose a significant amount of my brain cells. Like, what the f are we doing? But towards the end of the day, we finally stumbled upon the electric dino we needed. What? What happened?
You didn't give me a chance to slow my descent.
On day 28, it was time to bait the Dodorex over to the new trap I put down. But as I was trying to torpedo this Dodorex, another one showed up and gave me a heart attack. He can't walk up, can he? But it wasn't long until a freaking Nightmare Rex spawned next to us. Oh my god, do you see what's next to us? Then now, it's a rush to get it knocked out. But when I got home to grab the kibble for the electric Dodorex, I just couldn't find it and I couldn't make that much either. So I had to go pick up some eggs by the family activity island. And then go back home to make the kibble. And now, finally, we got it without any trouble at all. Freaking awesome. Okay, we need to go for the next one. Oh! Get off me! But a bit later, we went out for another electric Dodorex of the opposite gender. And as soon as we found one, I managed to get the Akisa pummeled to the ground again. Frick's sake.
You didn't brace the landing again.
I'm sorry, I forgot. I keep forgetting. I don't know if this keeps happening. The second one proved to be a little bit more complicated to trap in because all he wanted to do was to zap my behind. But after using Akisa as a bait, it worked excellent for baiting the Dodorex into the trap. And after getting it trapped, I just had to make some more of those tranks myself. On the next day, the Dodorex was finally tamed, so all I had to do was to prep them so we could have an imprinted one eventually. I had some more Argentavis to grow up to eventually harvest them for their stuff. It will probably be the last time we will have to do this for a while. But a bit later, Akisa had spotted a lightning griffin for us to tame so we could use it to traverse around the map faster. So I was back home to make some dinosaur doors so we could lure it in and then trap it. I just had to bait it over and I went inside without too much of an issue. I simply can't believe I made it. I usually always collapse due to my stupidness. Well, I left Akisa to trank it while I went back home to make some more darts so we could be ready for our second one as well. Alright, after a few more darts here and there, it was captured. And now it was off to the second one. Akisa went out and was searching for another one while I just sat and made some more darts. On day 30, Akisa took me to the snow zone where the griffin was lurking and all I had to do was just to take care of the trap while Akisa baited it this time. This one was a little bit easier to work with and we quickly removed it from its conscious state. Okay, so let's see. So the creatures we have over here, Akisa, these are the ones we're gonna use for boss fights. We have Hydrorexes, obviously, in a big chunk. We don't have too many Dodorexes, and we're missing Volcanic.
I go track down Worm.
So while Akisa was out looking for the volcanic dinos we were gonna tame today, I went outside the base and I just looked at the meteors. But a bit later, Akisa had led me to a volcanic dino, so I slid my way over there. That was a legendary one. On day 31, he was sound asleep, so I gave it some kibble and I just had to wait. The worm took a long time to tame, so I went to go start looking for the other one to trank, which wasn't too far away. But it wasn't long until Akisa discovered that there was a taming helper to speed up the food drain of dinos.
We do have a tame helper.
There is a tame helper.
Yep. Times 50, times 100, and times 250.
Well, that's just great. Oh no, don't do that. What are you doing, Akisa?
Becoming a snacko.
And finally, it was out. But when we were gonna set them up for some family-oriented activities, they didn't really have the option for that. So, what was the point of taming these? So today was time to prepare for the third elemental bosses. We have all of the necessary creatures now to fight these bosses, and hopefully they will be easy like the last time we did this like a year ago. So all there is to it is just to saddle them, level them, and hopefully it will be a cakewalk. What are you doing?
Wow, he jumped so high. He jumped so high he hurts himself.
After that, I got some alpha potions made as well, just in case, as we don't know how difficult this might be, but I don't think it's gonna be too difficult. It's just a precaution, that's really it. But anyways, we flew back to the beach where I got bombarded by demonic dildo because he didn't really like me, and the Hydro Guardian boss should be there as well. I simply just had to bait the boss away so we could fight it without any curious demonic dino blasting me to space. The boss was capable of summoning water tornadoes, but they didn't seem to do anything, and this boss was just easy. And then finally the boss was defeated. Well, we got the Hydro Seeds from defeating the boss, and a tameable Guardian summon that we will definitely try taming in this video, because we didn't do that last time. But hey, that's our first Elemental Guardian boss down, so just 2 more left in this tier. A bit later, I was starting to set up a new greenhouse on day 33 for the new greenhouse seeds we got from the Hydro boss, but I had to take a break immediately since Akisa found the volcanic boss we were gonna fight. Oh my god, my Rex. Oof, took a lot of damage. But I got the fruit and the seeds. It was nonetheless an easier fight than the Hydro Guardian and went down before a minute of fighting him. Okay. Tell me once you're ready.
Yes, I'm ready. Oh my god. My worm!
The worm was completely useless. Well, that was definitely unexpected, but we weren't gonna give up. Still had our strong electric Dodorex that we could try fighting with against the electric boss. The Guardian wasn't taking any outstanding damage from us, but we sure could at least stay on the boss without being blown up. And with our last elemental boss down, I went back to continue building the greenhouse I was setting up by the island. I wanted this greenhouse to not only hold the Primal Chaos farm seeds, but also a few normal seeds since we'll use a lot of those other ones. Then I quickly ran out of heart and crystal and I had to go out looking for a good place of crystal again. I was still flying around all over the place looking for crystal, but no success finding any big amount of it. But with the crystal I obtained, I was finally able to finalize the greenhouse build. And after I built that, I went back to the other greenhouse to steal the fertilizer from myself, so we could have it for the new greenhouse. But for today, I didn't really do anything super special. I was just setting up everything so we could have the new kibble, eventually. On day 35, after finishing building the greenhouse, I was looking at these other kibble types, and we will have to get all of the dino types since we need their eggs to make all of the different versions of kibble. But as I got home, we were getting bombarded by a spirit dino. It was like World War III outside. I was hitting our base.
I mean, it doesn't seem to be hurting the base, but...
So after hyperventilating about losing the base, we escaped back to the island to harvest up some dodorexes for their stuff instead. On day 36, we were out together to catch some volcanic allosaurus because our stupid worms were so puny and couldn't last through the elemental boss. We were gonna need the volcanic stuff and eggs, so that's why we went out to grab a pair of them. Okay, one allosaurus down, now for the other one. We tracked one down not too far away and it was easily trapped so we could knock it out. Shortly into day 37, I went to fight Harambe just to see if he was the chosen one to give me my tech engrams, but no, he wasn't. I am, however, still very confused what all of these emblems are for though, because we had like 3 different ones already. So a little bit later, I ran into a new boss or something in the shape of a crab. I was thinking to myself that this might be the one for us to get some tech grams. The boss didn't really put up much of a fight and we didn't get anything special at all. Maybe some of these shells, but I still had no faintest idea what these are for. But as I was tending to some business at the island, Ikisa had discovered something incredible this map has.
Oh my god.
What happened?
Hold up 1 minute. I have to go investigate and then I'll have you teleport to me.
So she got me teleported to a new area here that I've never seen. Okay. What about it?
Look at these lamps.
These lamps? Oh! What is that? What is happening?
I don't know. Where does that one say it goes?
The echoing vaults cave, no flyers. Oh my god. What? Is this aberration?
Ow.
This looks like aberration. I'm assuming we can't use the griffin here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, not allowed. Wow. What an area. Oh, there's a drop here. Oh, what? What a drop. Wait, does that mean there's drops in this? Is this a dungeon? Jesus, it's so big here.
Is that an artifact?
Ooh. Clever. That was really clever. Ow! So after looking at all of these different biomes, we kinda realized that there is a lot more to visit on this map. So Temptress Lagoon had way more content to it than we actually realized.
Yeah, it's a tech cave.
It's a tech cave. Oh, what is this? I see something on the wall here. Ghost of Geralt. Great. Geralt is still alive. I really like this map. This map is actually really cool.
Right? It's just gotten better.
Wow. Oh my god. We were astonished by the sheer amount of content this map had, and the new zones were all super fascinating as well. Wait, what is that? What is this?
Temptress lock.
We had absolutely no idea what these were for, but probably it was some kind of a secret. Oh, here's the artifact.
Yeah, I just don't know how to open door. There's a button right here.
Okay. That seems to do nothing. On day 38, Akisa and I were just goosing around with the grapple hook and I got her somewhat splat on the griffin. What? But anyways, today's mission was to capture a pair of fairy Argentavises for their eggs. I saw the Argentavis at the corner of my eyeball, so I proceeded to put down some gates while some mammoths made a lot of racket. But after the trap was done and Ikisa stood in the trap ready to go, the Argentavis must have been eliminated because I couldn't see it around anymore. Anyways, we made it to the second fairy Argentavis, so then I did my usual and set up the traps in hopes of trapping it in without any issues at all. But as soon as I was trying to trap it in, I heard some sort of a flame breath nearby me, which ended me insanely fast. That sounds bad. So from what happened, my hair was starting to recede once again, and we only have one more chance at this since it was the last one up on the map. And let's get to it, guys, okay? Full focus, lock in, okay?
Okay, we're looking.
Okay, so usually I don't like to use the scanner, but it's also a very important tool to make sure every creature spawns in on the map. Because we were originally playing a different map at this time, but it didn't work out with the spawn, so that's why we're playing Temptress Lagoon. Oh my god, it disappeared. Well, we're going for Shadow Turkey then. But anyways, I managed to find the turkey and bait it to us. Then I went back home to make some metal walls and such to trap it in, but Akisa had already put down some gates that actually worked. I actually thought it was gonna be too small for gates, but hey, whatever works, I guess. Day 39, Akisa and I were out by some lonely islands in the middle of nowhere, but there was another turkey for us to tame. We just had to get rid of some unpleasant company first though. And apparently if you attack the turkey, it will attract everything else towards us and attack us. They were simply just trying to save their homeboy, but we need him. But a bit later, Akisa was trying to tame a fairy Pegasus because we lost the Argentavises and wanted to try to see if these horses would, funnily enough, drop an egg. I was really curious though to see how it was going with it, so I teleported over to Akisa, and in the worst time possible too. It wasn't long until Akisa found another Pegasus to try taming, but she easily scared it, so I tamed it instead. Well, we needed a second one, so we glid towards one and Akisa tamed it instead without my help. However, disappointingly enough, these Pegasus do not drop an egg, so we're back to square one. So after server restart towards day 40, we were finally out to capture another fairy Argentavis that was close to the ocean. The other Argentavis we were gonna tame was just straight ahead up here somewhere. Akisa spotted him, but I was completely blind.
Listen. Mike, you had one job when the other person baits, and that's to close the door.
Oh, door? I fell asleep. I wanna see if you have a horse ready. I guess your horses are gonna be so weak.
No, I'm gonna go tame myself a better horse.
There's 32 horse here. Do you want it? 6
No.
million points.
No, I told you I wasn't going to like them. I need a strong horse.
But anyways, after much debate about Akisa's funny horse, I looked over the summoners that will require us to work on origins before primals. It is slightly different from the last time we played, but we do have a few more new tiers of dinos. So then, on day 41, I was looking for the summoners since we need to start preparing for them. So let's see what it says here. Bosses, origins. We have the origins, which is apparently the next, what? Demonic and angelic? Nightmares. And then Death Knight. Okay, so the Death Knight is still last one. So the next one will be the origins to work towards. But before we could do that, I wanted to catch a mythic Therizino since we need a little bit of rare flowers to make the mythic health potions. So I tracked one down and I trapped it in without any issues. I can't see anything! Move your stupid bird suit out of the way. On day 42, the Therizino was finally knocked out and then tamed up with some mythic kibble. The other one underwent the same process. Entrap it, tranquilize it, and knock it unconscious. And in case I went to clear the area of everything nearby so I wouldn't get this one ripped to some stupid dino. But after a while, it was tamed up. And since we're pretty much done with all of the other old tiers, I could put the dinos away for now since we had already accumulated enough resources from these guys. And a little bit later, we're gonna start taming a legendary Allosaurus to use them against the next bosses. But when I was about to place my trap, it had suddenly ran off the cliff into a pool of water. Now, the big problem about that is that he was severely dropping health due to the oxygen, I believe. And with the loss of that Allosaurus, we went back home to gather our thoughts and make some mythic flak armor instead. And here's the funny thing, every time Akisa puts her skin on any of the new Primal Chaos armor, her skin also changes color on, her bird or whatever. On day 43, we had some time to think, so today was time to tame a different legendary dino, the Indominus. I was hoping this big boy was gonna be good for the upcoming bosses, and it should be somewhat easy to make a few more of them to spawn since they share a lot of spawns with the Gigas. It spawns a lot of Gigas on this map. I used Akisa as bait to make him walk into the trap, which worked incredibly well. And taming this Indominus was really boring and tiring, so I asked if Akisa could sing us a song. The Soviet song. Can you sing it? Spraydusch. Towards the end of the day, we kinda just harvested up a lot of the dinos for their stuff. This was an everyday thing for us, so we wouldn't run out of stuff. On day 44, I went out to farm a bunch of metal again, so we just ran out of it all the time, and we will need a lot of it for the upcoming dinos. Akisa was clearing all of the gigas by the volcano in the meantime. And after I farmed as much metal as I had interest in, I quickly zoomed over to Kisa because she was doing a purple OSD. The only reason we were doing this purple was just to get the long neck blueprint. Like, these waves weren't that difficult at all to deal with as long as I kept my distance and didn't really touch the supply drop. We'll do 8 waves. Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, enraged, enraged. And if you're familiar with Extinction, these enraged corrupted Rexes are the prime target for us to take down since they do an insane damage to the supply drop. And they also give us a lot of chibi and character levels. Okay, wave 5 down. Let's keep our eyes peeled for an enraged and then walk towards him. And as we were going through all of these waves, on wave 7, a dino had snuck up on me, which was really bad. An alpha! Where did he come from? Oh my god, finally. On day 45, it was finally time to end it and get our drops. Okay. Long neck blueprint, please give us. Wait, what is this? A bell rig wheels track? Oh, I got wheels. No long neck though. We got levels. Anyways, a bit later, Kisa had made his bio grinder and we tried it out, which was supposedly making kibble when you sacrifice a specific dino, but you also get the resources from the dino. But modded ones didn't really work. So after a few days of waiting, another legendary Indominus had spawned in and Kisa was there waiting for me, so I just had to teleport over there.
It's definitely not safe.
Whole ID! Ow! I'm just looking at my armor. I flew out there on my griffin and Kisa single-handedly got it knocked out. So now I just had to set them up and wait for the babies to hatch and grow up. And towards the end of the day, I got a lot of these mythic Therizzinos ready to be harvested. Basically, their stuff is just for the kibble, the summoners, health potions, and darts. So pretty much everything. Now, I just have to find something to do in the meantime while we're waiting for our Indominus Rexes to get ready. So I went deep underwater to harvest some Apex tributes because we had actually planned on doing the bosses on this map since it was a really cool map. And mostly because we didn't really have anything else to do besides just waiting right now. I went down into the Aberration Cave afterwards and I teleported my griffin in so I could explore it with the flyer. Wait, what? I think I found an artifact. I found an artifact. I found the Shadows artifact. And not too far away. I almost zoomed past another artifact. So you wanted to do the bosses, right? We actually have to look up where all the stuff is, okay, so. On day 47, I was suffering from a slight memory issue and I didn't realize we got a lot of buffs from the new mythic armor. Old man energy, I guess. But despite my short-term memory loss, I didn't forget that we needed to farm a lot of rare flowers at least. But when I went out here with my Therizino, I didn't seem to get a single flower. Where are them flowers at, yo? And usually, you go over to the swamps with the Therizino to farm flowers, but in this case, what's going on? Kisa, however, knew of a spot I had to fly out to get the flowers. But it wasn't a big amount and they're evenly spread all over the place. So you can't really go over to the swamp to farm the flowers. It doesn't work on this map. On day 48, I looked up on the Temptress Lagoon Discord of a spot inside a specific cave where there is a secret along with rare flowers. But it wasn't safe since it had a few modded dinos inside. Kisa found a secret door we read about on the Discord and apparently the way to open it is to look around for a hidden secret button. So after running around looking at each freaking square, rock and crevice, I found a button that opened the door to the next level. Oh god, isn't everything gonna be modded creature in here though? Well, here's the artifact.
I found the button.
And as I went further inside, I saw the next level of dangerous dinos that can definitely rip me to pieces. Oh! Oh my god, they are spawning in my face! And here is the last artifact. On day 49, as we were gonna go to the Aberration Cave to look for the last artifact I was missing from it, we stumbled upon these Temptress Eclipse snails that we have absolutely no idea what they're used for, but we wanted them. We scanned through the entire Ab Cave and still nothing. But it wasn't long until we found the third artifact. On day 50, we took a little break from the caving and harvested these dinos instead. But now, our Indominus Rexes were done and I wanted to give it a whirl. The damage the Indominus did wasn't too good, but it could shred anything after I took a bite on them. So I decided to try it out on this Primal Resurrected Bronto with 25 million HP. But with every tick of bleed I did, the more health was going down. This was the way. And close to the end of the day, I finally defeated it. Oh, I learned demonic rocket? Oh,
Oh, so that's how you get the demonic stuff.
The resurrected Bronto rewarded me with some demonic rockets and primal electronics and polymer. These rockets are gonna be very necessary for us to tame our very first demonic dino. Akisa also wanted to end the day by playing some tic-tac-toe. On day 51, I had to get these Indominus Rexes harvested and prep for the bosses. And since we had so many heathens of these Indominus that never made it as good as a final product, they just had to be sacrificed for the greater good. Alright, but now we had a plan. And that was to try taking down this Primal Spino in the swamp that was a little bit different from the resurrected dino that was just a pile of bones. But we quickly figured out that this pagan just couldn't take any bleed tick damage. So we decided to abandon the fight because we didn't really feel like we were doing it right. But the real fight, however, will be up against this Nightmare Raptor over there. But before we're going to fight it, we wanted to raise our damage stacks a little bit in preparation. On day 52, it was finally time. What? Did that just happen? Okay, so I have no clue what happened there. We literally got smoked. So we were gonna try it again by sending in an Indominus without the rider. I have a slight idea what happened. Might have something to do with the enrage. It is the enrage. You wanna know what I know what the problem is now? I actually figured out the problem here. The problem is that we have an Indominus that has a rage meter. If we were to tame something that doesn't have a rage meter, like an Allosaurus, I don't think that would happen. So with that discovery, we have decided to go out and tame a pair of legendary Allosaurus instead. I found a legendary Allosaurus on an island, but I had to get rid of a Bronto and a Dodorex, but just somehow I got literally barbecued by the Dodorex on top of my Griffin. No way. So then I had to fly all the way out there again, but I just had enough luck to see that Allosaurus never got out of the trap. Well, I got the Allosaurus easily captured with Akisa's help. But as I was flying towards another one that was a little bit lower level, he was being protected by a dangerous Dodo Reaper. However, with my pure awesome skill of taming dinos, it wasn't hard baiting him away from it. But into day 53, we had set our eyes on this angelic griffin that we wanted to catch. We could already make the cable for it and the darts worked on it, so we considered why not. Well, I got back to him, but the Akisa perished waiting for me to get back here. The attacks he was spreading towards us was something we had to avoid at all costs, since those attacks would one-shot any of us. Luckily, the one and only dart I had left, I knocked it out. Akisa came back with some angelic kibble that I fed the griffin and tamed it. And the damage it did was just incredible, but it was capped like the primal nemesis creatures were. So generally, people will go all ham on damage for these types of creatures, but if the damage is capped, might as well just pump 99 points into health instead. Day 54, it was time to go back to that Primal Spino we couldn't take down with our Indominus Rexes. Oh my god, look at this health, it's dropping even faster now. Yeah, that was exceedingly powerful. Ah, we got the primal blood. Alright, after picking up our Allosaurus pack, we went back to that very lonesome island we tamed the angelic griffin on, since it had spawned a nightmare Carnotaurus here now. There were just a few things to get rid of first. But as we went to fight this nightmare, the rage meter never went up and we didn't get kicked off our allos. The Indominus Rexes were pretty much useless in this case. I went on my griffin to shoot at the nightmare from a distance and it did really good damage. Yeah, he does ground you. You're right. Oh my god, you see his HP? We destroyed him with... The Carno even dropped his loot bag with a bunch of loot. Nothing useful really though. And towards the end of the day, we were taking down a primal resurrected Bronto for its stuff. We continued taking them down by day 55. We needed those rockets and the primal resources we get from these. Please push me into this corner. I wanna be lazy. Oh, you need to attack it, Lisa, because it's healing, it's healing, it's healing, it's healing. This primal Cantro got taken down with the Griffin since unfortunately it couldn't get the Allosaurus debuff damage on it. We tried taking down the Cantro with the Allos, but this way of doing it is so slow, man. Well, we still got rid of this primal since we needed their stuff. Akisa also had balls of steel when the Spirit Dodorex was rolling up on us, extremely close too. I was getting tired of left clicking all the time, so I activated the toggle thing for my mouse and went to lay down. But it sure was getting tiring getting rid of these dinos, but it's not like we had anything to do except working on electronics and polymer, so we can make the demonic rocket launcher. On day 57, when we got rid of this resurrected Bronto, I had enough of it and I wanted to go for this cat, which Akisa agreed to at supersonic speed. We really couldn't get it to work for Akisa because every time she gave it food, she ended up with scratches all over her face. But when I tamed them, they work without any issues. And a bit later, we decided to actually tame these guardians. It is a bit late right now since we're close towards the demonic tier, but we just wanted to test them out since we didn't really get to do that last time we played this mod. On day 58, it was finally out and I just had to get back home to quickly grab some kibble and then tame it. Its attacks are indeed very impressive, but I just can't see that many people use this at all. But a bit later, I had to go farm a little bit of random berries since we were completely out of pretty much everything. On day 59, I went to farm these Utis for their hearts. We have actually decided to do the map bosses and we're missing a lot of these tributes for it. But to get the break from it, I summoned the Electric Guardian so I could tame it. It was indeed a very cool creature, but very low level though. Jesus. Unfortunately, I suck at this freaking game and I got it sucked into the very abyss instead. So I had to summon a new one, but at least it was level 100. And with my pure awesome skill in taming dinos, this was no sweat. Oh my god. And towards the end of the day, we were starting to torpedo the Hydra Guardian as well. Might as well get all of them now. On day 60, we finally captured the last Guardian. I went over to the Red Obelisk to try the Hydra Guardian out against these Gigas, and honestly, it was pretty good. That was pretty easy to take down, but I didn't really have the balls to take down this resurrected dino with it. Alright, after much debate, we went back to this zone here to look for artifacts so we could do the map bosses. But when I flew around looking for the artifacts, I saw the snake boss that supposedly lives in here and holds one of the artifacts. There's an artifact there, Devourer. Let's save the boss for last. Let's look for those artifacts. I found a strong. After I got the strong artifact, Akisa had found a secret door holding an artifact behind it. It was a puzzle and you just have to place one dinosaur each on these pressure plates to open the door.
Oh, it's open. Ah, okay, it's the immune.
Our next puzzle was these monitors here, but I just couldn't figure out what we were supposed to do. I have no clue how Akisa figured it out, but she managed to open the door and there was nothing inside. Well, we were still looking for one specific artifact, the Cunning, but we just couldn't find it. And let me remind you, there was no guides for where these artifacts were. All we could find on the Discord is that certain artifacts spawns in each of these zones. And no artifact spawns in the overworld. But after a lot of searching, I found the artifact super far up in an area. And now we just have to take down the boss. Nice. Did I get an artifact?
Yeah, we got Brute.
We went down to the other cave now to look for the last artifact, which was the pack. Akisa found it though.
Oh, here's Pack.
On day 62, it was time to attempt the Alpha Dragon. We had all of the stuff prepped and ready for it. 3, 2, 1, go. And this arena was freaking amazing, I can tell you that. Oh, he gets a suffocation buff. Do you see that? The fight wasn't that difficult at all. But now we got some tech rams and of course the element and a trophy. It was also the right moment to get a second angelic creature, so I got some kibble made. I flew out to him and I spammed my darts to remove him from his conscious state. And now we finally have 2 of these, which is great. On day 63 I went to collect a big amount of metal, but when I went back home to dump it, it immediately got moved into the forge automatically since the AA mod works like that. That's pretty neat, but it can also be pretty bad if you don't want it to happen. But now it's time to make the tech replicator we had already unlocked. So I made an S+ mutator as well because I wanted to gender swap the angelic griffins we caught. We had to start making more of these just to get the stronger one. On day 64 we were after these so-called emblems that you get on this map. We figured out that they were used for one of the bosses in this map, which we need. However, these volcano emblems were only available to get when there was an earthquake happening. And then we had an earthquake, but nothing.
Earthquake!
Okay, how do we get this?
I don't know. I'll have you know I got regular obsidian.
Apparently, we read somewhere that we were in the wrong spot and it was supposed to spawn next to the entrance of the volcano cave. Then we just had to wait for an earthquake.
Wait, is it earthquaking?
So, this is really bad timing for me since I was getting rid of some creatures.
Oh, I think I got one.
I get anything! And luckily, with what the keys I got, we had enough, but we also need a little bit of Vyron milk for it. So, the next day, we went over to the Vyron Scar or whatever it's called here to knock out some female Vyrons for some milk. We got a few of them knocked out, but they had to be eliminated afterwards since you can't constantly knock out the same female to get more milk. Now, I had enough of this Vyron milk, so we're ready for the Titanic Tide Queen. We weren't sure what kind of boss it was, but I wasn't really hoping it was a flyer boss. What is this? No, don't tell me it's a water boss. Oh. Oh my god.
Oh, the crab's here.
2.6 million.
She's spicy.
Oh, I can get stronger. I just need to get rid of more Biddy Boofos. Where's the frogs at? Make me stronger. Oh, she's almost gone. Come on. Oh, I got something. Oh, we got tech rams. Oh, we got so many. Over here.
Oh my god.
What?
Look at the inventory of my dinosaur.
Oh my god. Oh, we got a monkey trophy. Well, I guess we don't need polymer for a while, huh? However, the only boss who we were missing to do the tech cave is the Broodmother, which we didn't really have the stuff for yet, I think. I also started crafting these auto storage boxes to put down for a lot of Primal Chaos stuff. Then I made this butler bot thingy from Aberration, but I had no foggiest idea how to use this guy.
Hello, sir.
I assumed he would patrol the area and maybe farm some stuff around the area or something. On day 68, we didn't really do anything at all, just walking around the base and chatting. But at the start of day 69, we used these new angelic griffins that were imprinted and everything to take down a resurrected Bronto. We still didn't have enough stuff for 2 rocket launchers, so that's why we also were still harvesting these. And after we went for a few of these resurrected, it was time to go after this demonic Dillo because we apparently needed its stuff to make the demonic ingots. And with that, I was also able to make the demonic rocket launcher, but we needed one more for Ikisa. Ikisa was already on another demonic that I teleported towards. On day 70, we had 2 rocket launchers with a bunch of rockets we got from getting rid of all of those primals. So now, it was finally time to get one of these demonics.
Oh my goodness. Wow. That did some work. Okay, I got him. I got this.
Don't miss. You missed!
I think I missed.
How did you miss that?
Yeah, let me try again from this angle.
Oh no.
Unbelievable, I missed again. In the meantime, Ikisa was missing her shots trying to get the lizard. I went back home to make the kibble. After that demonic, we went for a second one that was easily knocked out since he wasn't moving around at all. On day 71, we didn't do anything special at the moment since we were still figuring out what the next step for us would be. On day 72, however, I was starting to harvest these demonic thornies since we needed their stuff to make the saddles for these demonics. Day 73, it was time for us to finally fight an origin boss. We found this Carno here and I went up on my demonic to start bombarding it with my decimating ability. And once he was done, we got each an origin soul, token and this corrupt thingy here. Yeah, because basically what you're supposed to do, you're supposed to defeat the angelic and the demon king, right? It's so you can unlock the chaos kibble and the spirit kibble. You have to take down those two if you want these. And that was the plan. My plan for us was to take down those bosses and then we work on the nightmares and then the demon, whatever it's called, Death Knight. So basically, this is all completely different now and we have to take down the origins before we move on to the nightmare, which was different from last time we played it. An origin raptor was next and yeah, completely underwhelming. The last one we had up on the map was a wild penguin, but he was being difficult getting up on land, so I baited him towards land instead. If you can, shoot a rocket when you're on the ground. Oh, well, never mind, he's on the land.
Oh my god.
So to backtrack to the map bosses, we were only missing out on the Broodmother and the Tech Cave, and to do that we need to get the trophy and these emblems. Day 74, it was time to take on this boss called the Artifact Eater, which got absolutely obliterated to pieces. And after we got rid of the snake, we looked around for drops until I saw that the snake was back. Also, the Artifact Eater boss drops these Eclipse emblems we needed, and it's divided between us two, so it shouldn't take too long to get these.
Oh yeah, the snake's already back.
We have enough emblems now. Now, all there was for me to do was to get some Ardentavis talons so we can initiate the fight up against the Broodmother. The next day, we both went out for the remaining tribute, which was the vertebrae from these long necks. But now, we're finally ready for the Alpha Broodmother fight.
Oh no, Mike, I accidentally pressed the button.
Oh my god, it's so much echo! My ear! The Broodmother, however, got smacked. It was really easy to take her down. Element and a trophy for me. So back home, we were finally preparing for the last map boss, the Tech Cave. I'm opening.
Okay.
Did it open?
Not bad.
Oh, I got in!
Oh.
The cave wasn't really a cave,
Yes.
it was a city, and it was really beautiful. I see our first creatures we have to fight. What? We have to fight the demonic Reaper Queen!
I don't think that's meant to be in here.
Okay, we're gonna have to make a run for it. Oh, I can't run away from it. We have to fight it, I think.
Uh-oh.
Oh no. After gathering our thoughts and prayers for the allos we'd lost before, we were back in here and luckily there was no Reaper this time. But a little bit later further up here was a Chaos Therizino instead. Oh, no! But this one we could at least sneak by. And as I went through most of the floors, we finally reached the teleporter pad, where it took us to a plain and empty area.
Oh. Oh!
What?
Imagine if you were standing there.
That would have been bad. Well, the fight wasn't that different from the island and just involves these different phases of fights with the island bosses. Goodbye! Bye, spider legs! Wow. He got smacked. So close to the end of day 76, we had finally taken down every map boss. Nice! There was also a very weird issue with the game as soon as we ascended. It basically froze our game completely, so we had to Alt F4. On day 77, we got into the server and I was rewarded with some cool shibis from defeating the Overseer. But now, I made the Origin Summoners for the last tier bosses we were missing. We needed just a few of them to get the tokens for the Angelic boss and the Demon boss. And we started off with the Origin Dire Bear boss, which wasn't hard at all, actually way too easy. Funnily enough, Kisa even spammed her ability so much that her game disconnected her from the server. The game disconnect was so bad that it was already day 78, and we were still continuing taking down this origin since we had to take a break so Kisa could get in. Because that crash was so bad, it took Kisa more than 20 minutes just to get into the server again. Well, the Argy went down super easily, and then the Wyvern as well. They didn't do any sort of damage at all, it seemed. But afterwards, we had the last one, which was the Origin Spino. On day 79, I started making the summoners for the Demonic Boss King and the Angelic. Then we went down to our usual spot to fight the bosses, and I summoned the Demon King. It spawned in with 1.4 billion health, and it was able to summon Demonic Reapers.
Oh my god, there's so many minions!
This felt really bad.
Let's keep the Scorpion over here though. It doesn't crawl up to me.
I think it crawled up to you.
I'm getting pushed around here.
500 million and a few Reapers gone. 100 million after pushing me around like I'm some sort of a dog's toy.
He's going down.
And as soon as it perished, I got pushed away, but I unlocked the Chaos Kibble at least. Finally. It was day 80 and was time for the next boss, the Angelic Overlord, in the form of a Ferox.
He's coming right at you.
The guy was big and intimidating, but after a while of firing our lasers and overwhelming attacks, we broke him and his brain since he just stood there and took it. The boss literally just gave up. So, with him defeated, we unlocked Spirit Kibble now. And before we push towards the next tier of bosses, I wanted for us to at least tame one Chaos Dino and a Spirit Dino first. But we ran into a problem trying to make the Chaos Kibble. We apparently need souls from the Angelic Dinos, which we didn't really have too much of. So we tracked one down and took care of him. Day 81 was spent getting rid of a lot of demonics and angelics, and that's pretty much it of the entire day. But on day 82, we were ready and I made the Chaos and Spirit Kibble with what we had, since I could only make a few of them. I had to go and hunt more Angelic Dinos, however, for the souls. Akisa had already tracked down a Chaos Griffin that we started shooting with the rockets. So after a full day of shooting rockets at this guy, he was finally out. So I gave him the kibble and it was ours. And towards the end of the day, I was tracking down a Spirit Dino, but it wasn't anything super huge, but I just wanted the Jerboa. Well, the Spirit Jerboa proved to be more acceptable to our rockets, and it went down without even fighting back. And it only demanded one Spirit Kibble, which was perfect. Look at this. Oh my god. But now, it's time to work on these nightmares. It's a little bit hard to control the Jerboa, but it was also very funny. The Trike boss we fought against stood no chance against us. Jerboa power, am I right? Oh, we also managed to get some nightmare potions as well from taking him down. The next one we went for was the Nightmare Raptor, and he was so weak to begin with. And then we took down the Nightmare Carno, which was just a cakewalk. Towards the end of day 83, we had tracked down a Nightmare Dodo Reaper for us to take down, but he wasn't taking any damage at all. So then I had to go to the Aberration Cave to tame some light pits so we could take him down easier. And afterwards, we went back to the Dodo Reaper and I literally spammed my attack button so much that Akisa got disconnected during the fight and got obliterated.
I disconnected.
We had a few nightmares left to fight, so Akisa made the summoners for them and we summoned it in by the starter base to fight them. And finally, we're ready for the last boss of this mod, the Death Knight. early into the fight, Akisa got apparently destroyed within seconds, so I was left alone. I tried doing my best kiting the boss around but fired my godly attacks all over the place trying to defeat him. I really just tried to avoid all of his sword attacks since they were insanely dangerous. But after struggling for a while against the boss, we got caught by its attack. Oh no! I got hit by the sword. We were kinda desperate and we tried everything to take the boss down. So after a little bit of thinking, we kinda gave up on the boss right now and we're considering taming a pair of spirit jerboas instead to see if we can make more of them. We tracked one down, we shot a lot of rockets and knocked it out. So now we got one and we're gonna need the second one. Day 86, we tracked down the second jerboa towards an island next to a chaos wyvern. Unlike the other jerboa, this was just straight up easy. So after catching both of them, we took them to our Dino island and they were indeed able to make more. These guys were ridiculously fast to grow up as well, basically went from baby to fully adult in a minute. So we just had to wait for Akisa's jerboa as well until it was ready. And towards the end of the day, I had to make the Nightmare Dodo Reaper summoner again since it was the only one we were missing for the Death Knight fight. It took a little bit longer to fight the Nightmare Dodo Reaper now because we lost our bulldogs during the Death Knight fight before. And we were trying to keep it somewhat slow with our attacks too, so Akisa wouldn't disconnect again. But it was kinda hopeless and Akisa got disconnected again either way, and her jerboa was tanking the boss now. Well, at least the boss was hurt by the time Akisa disconnected and we got rid of the Reaper. Oh, there we go. On day 88, it was time again to make the summoner. But this time, we were more prepared for this fight since we had brought a few extra dinos with us for the fight. So there we go guys, we defeated the last boss before day 100. I am happy we got it defeated way earlier than expected though. And a quick explanation about the huge delay of the video. There have been a lot of problems making this video since Wildcard seems to break the world in one way or the other every time they do an update. But I hope you liked the video and subscribe of course and stay tuned for the next video because that will be extra special.